Mortgage interest rates have officially hit their highest point in just about 2 decades, which may sound like a little bit of a scary metric, but the reality is we've been discussing the elevated mortgage rates here on the channel for most of this year, and the recent uptick putting rates for a 30-year fixed right around 7.5% is not too terribly crazy from where we have been. If you look at the investment side of things, we are closer to 8%, but again, not really that crazy. And you may be wondering to yourself, hey, what is that going to do for the real estate market? How's that going to affect things in coastal Delaware, and what may that look like in the future? So let's take today, dive into it, and really give you the breakdown of what exactly we can expect going forward from here. Before we dive into the content, my name is Matt Lunden. I'm a local real estate agent here in coastal Delaware, and I put out content each and every week discussing all things coastal Delaware, what it's like to live here, and the real estate market here. If that's something that you would like to see some more of, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below. And then if you're someone that's looking to buy or sell real estate here in coastal Delaware, that's what we help people with every single day, and we absolutely love hearing from you guys here on the channel. So all my information is going to be down below in the description and right here on the screen. If we can help in absolutely any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Now let's dive back into the content. I don't think anybody is necessarily shocked when they hear that it's currently the most expensive time to buy a home that it's ever been in history. Now that we've got interest rates elevated quite a bit above where they were just a few years ago, and we have purchase prices as the highest they've ever been in history, we're kind of feeding into a little bit of an affordability crisis. Again, we discussed it a few weeks ago in a video. You're seeing it everywhere in the media, but affordability is the name of the game right now, and finding homes that are fitting the affordability ideal situation in the eyes of the buyer is certainly difficult. It's no secret, again, that prices are high and interest rates are high, making it very expensive to buy a home. So you may be wondering, why it is that way. Well, the Fed is trying to slow down inflation. So they've got their federal funding rate above 5% at the current stage of the game, and it's actually closer to 5.5%, and people are out still spending money, so inflation is still occurring. So until they get the cost of consumer goods and other items into check by, again, raising that rate more throughout the year, which is kind of the prediction that we're seeing in the marketplace, is that they plan to raise that rate again throughout the year as we finish out 2023 here and get us towards hopefully curtailing that inflation number. And until they do so, we're going to see interest rates continue to rise. Most often when we see interest rates go up and they rise rapidly as they have over the last year to 16 months, we tend to see prices come down because there's an affordability concern from buyers, and a lot of buyers will just wait on the sidelines before doing anything, and that will bring prices down just because there's less demand. However, in the current state of the game, we've got 89% of mortgages that are currently on homes are at less than 5% interest rates, and nearly 40% of homeowners in the United States own their homes outright with no mortgage. So any of those folks that are looking from the sidelines and considering what to do, they're not really that concerned because they don't have an interest rate, and they're not going to be looking to do anything because they own their home outright. So it's a large number of people. And then we've got 70% of homeowners in the US have equity of at least 50% in their homes. Again, those people have been blessed with the run-up of pricing over the last 2 years, and they've built in that equity. The reality is that the market is responding to that by getting tighter. There's less inventory because all of those people are sitting tight. They're not doing things because if they're seeing that their interest rate is below 5% and they don't have a gun to their head to do something, why would they go and get an interest rate that's 7.5% and maybe 8%? For them, the money just doesn't make sense to do so. And so we're seeing a lot more people stay tight, or they're just using the equity in their home to buy another home and using that original home as a rental. So we're seeing a lot of what the market has been calling accidental landlords, where you've got people that never planned on renting out their home, just thinking, hey, this house is costing such a little payment per month that I'm just going to rent it out and keep it, and I'll just take the equity out of it to go buy a new one. So you've got some people that are doing that, and it certainly has affected the inventory here on the market. So as interest rates go up, typically we see prices come down because inventory grows because there's less buyers looking. However, that is not the case right now. Inventory is still very low. It has been very low. We've been discussing it here for the last, feels like the entire year. Inventory is just going lower because those sellers are not selling because of the cost of money. So it's definitely playing a little bit of an anomaly here in the market, where as interest rates have gone up, we've actually seen a increase in the average sales price of about 7% year over year, where the historical average is about 4%. So we're seeing more appreciation year over year right now than we would have thought we were going to. So it's definitely making things a little bit more interesting as we go through this time with elevated interest rates. As we look forward to what's going to happen next and what impact it will have on the market, that depends on which analyst you trust. Everybody's got a different opinion. All the talking heads in the media have a different opinion. Most of them are singing pretty similar tunes. It's just a matter of what numbers they're saying when they say them. So the majority of analysts do think that interest rates will continue to rise in the short term. There are speculations that we're going to hit 8, maybe 8.5% in the near future. That's going to be probably 3 to 5 months from now. Everybody in the news media tend to be saying that we're going to be seeing those interest rates start to drop somewhere between Q1 and middle of Q2 in 2024. A lot of people thinking that the rates will come back down. Next year's an election year that tends to have positive impact on things like interest rates. So it'll be interesting to see where we end up. A lot of the general consensus is that we'll be somewhere in the mid to low 6s by about Q2 next year. We may see something drop into the 5s, but not many people are calling for anything in the 5s next year. So it really just depends on how things get with inflation, the economy, and the status of just everything in general. Well, I know many of you may be hoping for prices to drop a lot sooner than later so you can re-enter the market if you've decided to wait on the sidelines. There's a statistical company called Black Knight, and they do statistical analysis for the mortgage industry and, what they think on some different things. And they've recently put out a study where they said that for every 1% point that the interest rate drops, so say we're at 7.5%, if it goes down to 6.5%, that's going to bring 5 million more buyers back into the market. Obviously, all 5 million of them are not looking right here in coastal Delaware, but that is something to consider because if you are waiting on the sidelines for that rate to drop a little bit, and all of a sudden you've got a lot more competition on the buyer side, that's going to shoot prices back through the ceiling. You're going to get a lot less favorable terms, where right now buyers can get some good terms just because of the way the market has gone. And a lot of buyers are putting their plans on hold just to see what happens with the interest rate. Again, if 1% point comes off that interest rate and we see 5 million more buyers come back into the market, now when we have a 2% drop, say it gets down to 5.5%, again, it depends on who you believe and what your thoughts are on that process. But if we do come back to 5.5%, that's gonna bring 10 million buyers back into the market. All of last year, there was only 5 million sales nationwide. So that's a lot of people to come back in the market, start kicking the tires, and start looking at some different housing. So if you are considering doing something, it may be in your best interest to get into it now and then refinance down the road once it makes more sense from a rate perspective. If you're on the verge of affordability right now and it's really way too tight for you, then just hang tight. Nobody's making you move. It is only the right time to buy a home when it's the right time for you. As we've discussed previously, you can't let anybody else tell you when it is the right time. That's the latest on the mortgage rates and the housing market and where we think it'll go, what we think will happen in the near future, and as we look forward to 2024. If you guys took some value out of today's video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below just to let us know that we're doing a great job here on the channel. And then if you are someone that's looking to buy or sell real estate here in coastal Delaware, again, that's what we do every single day, and we love hearing from you guys here on the channel. So all my information is going to be down below in the description and right here on the screen. If we can help in absolutely any way, don't hesitate to reach out, and someone from my team will be in contact almost immediately. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. Peace.